show is just great.
I like what they talk about.
Oh, a terrific show.
I listen to their show every morning.
98.7 Kiss Country.
8:15, a little bit of sunshine here today, and not much temperature-wise. We're only going to get up in about mid-20s. We're at 11 right now, and it feels like 4 below. So that's what you can expect for today, if you haven't been outside yet this morning. But I just went out. It's cold. Put a coat on. On the video this morning that's on our Facebook page, 98.7 Kiss Country Facebook page. It's also on the Morning Rush YouTube page, or the 98.7 Kiss Country YouTube page. Just type in 98.7 Kiss Country, and it should you should see it go live. And that's why you should follow us, subscribe to us, all that good stuff right there. But otherwise, you can get it right here on the air with us. And this morning we have Abby Nelson. Good morning, Abby.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Well, I'm doing fantastic for a Monday. It's just getting started.
This is true.
Yeah. So Abby is from the Regional Health Center there for Howard County.
Correct.
And we're going to talk, I guess, a little bit today about what are the tell me how you pronounce these antibodies. I'm not a doctor.
That's all right. They're called monoclonal antibodies.
Okay.
So monoclonal antibodies are antibodies that you take from a host who's been exposed to a virus, in this case, COVID. And you kind of clean them up and put them through a process, turn them into an infusion, and then you give it to someone who's currently got the virus. Okay.
All right. So it's it sounds fairly simple, but I guess there's a lot more to it, right?
There's some science behind it. The way they work is the virus can't duplicate itself without kind of hijacking our own cells. And they do that by kind of a lock and key system. There's some proteins on the virus that hook into our cells, and it tricks our cells into remaking that coronavirus. What the antibodies do is once they're in our system, they bind to the site that the virus needs to connect to our cells so that they can't connect. That way they can't reproduce. And the thing that makes that a good thing is it keeps what we call the viral load low, and then our body has a chance to make the cells that need to break it down without being overwhelmed by a ton of the virus floating around in our system.
Sure. So now it's available at the Regional Health Service in Cresco?
Correct. It is. There's not vaccinations. There's infusions sent to us on a weekly basis. They send us however many they feel that our site needs. And then as long as you qualify, you can come in and get the infusion. And the most important things to remember about qualifying is it has to be within 10 days of you starting to feel sick. So if you're thinking maybe I have corona and you're interested in the infusion, you want to get to the doctor sooner than later to get tested, because if you're outside that 10-day window, you're not going to qualify. Then there's also things about your age and your health status that we have to take into consideration before we can sign you up.
Yeah. Now, is this something new? I mean,
It is relatively new. We started, I would say the middle of, or near the end of last month, we started doing the infusions, and we do somewhere between 5 and 10 a week. And we just kind of keep signing people up as they come in.
Okay. So this is totally different than what's coming out today.
Correct. So this one is kind of like borrowing someone else's shield for a couple of days while we build our own army up in our body. The other one is telling our body how to make the army.
Okay. So it's got instructions to it.
A little bit, yeah.
So who's eligible to receive this kind of treatment? Is it the elderly? Is it the young ones?
So anyone over 65 is automatically eligible because of their age. And then if you're 55 and older and have things like heart problems, diabetes, chronic respiratory things like COPD, you qualify. Anyone 12 to 18 who has things like congenital heart defects, different syndromes such as like Down syndromes, those things that you grow up with over time, you qualify. The ones that are really kind of hard to qualify is that 18 to 65 or 55-year-old range. It's pretty narrow, things like immunocompromised, like people on chemos. So yeah, it just kind of depends on what your health status is and what your age is as to who can qualify. But it's only for the people who are at home who have the mild to moderate symptoms.
So how are the monoclonal antibodies given to like COVID-19 patients?
So I'm the one that does the infusions. My background is in nursing, and we have an infusion site set up specifically for COVID patients.
Okay.
So they'll come in, I start an IV. We do the infusion over an hour. Then I watch the person for a second hour just to make sure there's no reaction. And then we send you home, and I'll follow up with you a couple days later.
Huh, it's kind of like going to the hairstyle shop. I'm sure you hear all sorts of stories and gossip, right?
It depends on the day.
Yeah.
Most people come in feeling not the best, so we just kind of let them sleep and rest and
Right.
listen to music. Yeah.
Yeah. So how can someone get referred to this kind of treatment?
Anyone who has a positive test can talk to their doctor about whether or not they qualify. They can be qualified through the respiratory clinic here at Cresco. They can call their primary provider, or they can give us a referral from an outside clinic, like the Test Iowa site. If you bring in your positive test, we can get you set up that way too.
And if somebody, Abby, is interested in receiving this treatment, who should they contact?
Contact your primary care provider first, and then they'll get you in touch with me, and we'll get you hooked into the system.
All right. Sounds very, very good. Well, Abby, thank you so much for taking the time. Some exciting times right now. It's like light at the end of the tunnel of what we've been going through this miserable 2020.
Yeah. Hopefully 2021 turns it around.
Let's certainly hope so.
Yep.
Abby Nelson from the Regional Health Service of Howard County. Again, thank you. Have yourself a wonderful day. All right.
You too now.
What's happening with your favorite country artists? We have the know from